Well, hello, and thanks for watching another episode of ARFCOM News, your twice-weekly dose of the finest 2A propaganda. Just when you think control freaks couldn't possibly get any dumber, the Albany County Grand High Karen, aka Albany County Executive Dan McCoy, just up and bans the sale of flare guns to anyone under 21. Yeah, go ahead and roll that Naked Gun clip, Taylor. This is profoundly stupid. I mean, I'm no geographist, but I think the capital of New York is in Albany County, and they ought to be able to hire at least, one attorney to tell the county executive he can't just arbitrarily ban arms for so many stupid reasons. It would take me well past the ad read to even list them all, but to start with, if they're not arms, then why do you want to ban them, Danny? I mean, they weren't really arms any more than a fire extinguisher was until you tried to ban them. And has it occurred to you, by the way, that a 19-year-old commercial fisherman is required by both state and federal law to have an emergency signaling device on his vessel? Look, I get it, Danny. You are soft and doughy, both inside and out. The world is full of bright lights and loud noises, and it frightens you. Flare guns and spray paint and circular saws are all potentially dangerous, which is why most retailers won't sell them to anyone under 16. I get it. I understand why you're scared, but we don't need some gynecomastic politician to protect us from flare guns by throwing people in the struggle cuddle cage. Oh, and the county is also gonna vote on a bill to do the same thing, so you should call Danny here so much that even he begs them to vote against it. But hey, it would be impossible for us to produce quality 2A propaganda without sponsors. So let's pay some bills. Today's video is sponsored by EOTech.
The Voodoo 3 to 9 by 32 scope. This second focal plane scope is only 6.8 inches long and is fog, water, and shock resistant. Compact, lightweight, and ideal for short to mid-range shooting. To minimize the overall length, a machine interface will adapt to the included EOTech mount or any aftermarket mini ACOG mounts. The Voodoo 3 to 9 by 32 scope is loaded with innovation, precision, and functionality to make that critical shot.
Last week I told you about how Pam Bondi's Justice Department was screwing gun owners by attempting to limit the scope of a ruling to the named plaintiffs, the FPC, the SAF, and the Louisiana Shooting Association, which led the judge to order those organizations to release their member lists. In a desperate attempt at damage control after seeing the enormous backlash from that order,
Put it in reverse, Terry! Put it in reverse! Oh, Lord! Lord, Jesus! Oh, Lord!
the DOJ walked back their position in a new joint filing alongside the plaintiffs, clarifying they did not wish the court to compel the organizations to release their member lists. And the court vacated that part of the decision. So that sent a lot of people tripping over themselves to make excuses for this administration. But they are missing the point. The DOJ is still trying to limit relief to as small a number of people as possible. That is, the DOJ is saying in all probability they would be perfectly willing to arrest you for buying a handgun from a licensed dealer while you were in another state. That's what this whole thing is really about. They think you should not be allowed to buy a handgun in any state where you're not a resident. And in spite of all of this administration's bluster about being pro-gun, so far we have seen very mixed results from the Justice Department. If we were to believe President Trump and Attorney General Blondie, then we would expect to see the DOJ stand down on the defense of every single one of these cases that are being funded by the major gun rights organizations. They would file a brief with the court saying they believe the law Congress passed is unconstitutional and they cannot mount a fair defense of the law. Then they would recuse themselves from the case, recommend the court to find other counsel to defend the law, and offer their assistance to the plaintiffs. And then I woke up. And if you don't believe me that this regime is unserious about gun rights, consider that the DOJ has refused to move for the release of political prisoners such as Dexter Taylor, Matt Hoover, Christopher Irvin, or Patrick Adamiak. Barely over a month ago, the DOJ was in court arguing against Adamiak's appeal. Thankfully, the court did agree that one of his convictions amounted to double jeopardy, but that's nothing in the face of the other charges based on completely manufactured evidence. It's all out there on the public record, of course. Old Sleepy Joe's ATF ambushed this sailor, faked evidence, lied to the jury, and sent the man away to prison over perfectly legal acts. I mean, I should be able to buy an RPG at Tractor Supply, but Adamiak is in prison over a demilled rocket launcher that the ATF welded back up and installed a 7.62 by 39 training barrel. I have ranted to you gentlefolk about this before, so I won't go on at length, but it's an absolute travesty that this veteran is locked up in the first place. I'm glad he got a little time off his sentence, but the DOJ should be helping him, not trying to keep him locked up. And every time I'm critical of Pam Bondi, somebody comes along and says something along the lines of, "I suppose you'd rather have Merrick Garland in charge," or for that matter, insert any other politician they're fond of. See, I think, if anything, we should be more critical of the people we helped to get into that position. If Kamala Harris won, I wouldn't be out here telling you to call her attorney general every other day demanding something to get done. It would be a waste of time. But I voted for Donald Trump, and he promised to support gun rights, and Pam Bondi promised to fight for gun rights, and she is really the bed right now. Am I wrong? So we need to call her several times a day, every day, until she steers that ship 180 degrees astern and starts advocating for the release of political prisoners and the repeal of unconstitutional gun laws. But if you've had just about enough of this bad news and want to hear about somebody who's getting stuff done, how's about a solid punch in the nose of rootin' tootin' Texas gun control? The FPC just dropped a 37-page amicus brief utterly eviscerating the state's defense of laws banning the good people of Texas from carrying in certain sensitive places in Ziegenfuss versus Martin. Come on, you can't expect me to say that name with a straight face. And yeah, if sensitive places caught your attention, it's worth noting that a win here might force a circuit court split with the Ninth Circus as they do impressive aerials to defend the floor is lava model of sensitive places where basically everything except your own home and shooting ranges are exceptions to your Second Amendment rights. And if Texas can have sensitive places where your rights are suspended, then any place can. So you should go to firearmspolicy.org/donate and give generously to the FPC to help them keep fighting this nonsense. Come on, you were just gonna spend that money on Miami Tiger Strike hockey tape anyway. And now for your moment of Zen. Hello, friend. Do you like pews and pew-related things? Would you like to help us keep delivering you pure-uncut American propaganda at the low, low price of $3.99? We literally couldn't pay the bills without our sponsors, so do us a solid and get yourself something nice from them. You deserve it. I love you.